Hi guys, Kaiser here, and welcome to Fire and Maneuver. Fire and Maneuver is a strategy game developed by Armchair History Interactive. If you're familiar with the Armchair Historian, this is his project. And it's a really exciting game for me for a couple of reasons. One, it's based off of 19th century combat, which is awesome. The 19th century is one of my favorite periods of history, and I wish there was more spotlight and more games in this time period. So it's really cool to see a strategy game in this area of history, this era of history. Two, the game is actually free to play. You can download and try the game out right now, and I would encourage you to, because it is a lot of fun. And that brings me to the third point. The game is fairly simple to get into and experiment with, but what I'm noticing is a good deal of complexity and just interesting strategy and strategic potential under the system. Like, as you start to learn it and get better and better, it seems like a really cool game. So I thought it'd be fun to spotlight the game, show it off to you, and maybe I'll have videos in the future going over the different factions and just sharing some experiences playing them. If you like the sound of that, be sure to like the video, subscribe to the channel, let me know in the comments below if you want to see more. What we're going to do is just dive in onto an AI match. I will play PvP games in the future, but I thought it would be fun for showing off the game, just to start off with an AI battle. You will notice, of course, the game is in early access, so there's a lot being added, a lot being changed, but that's that. All right, you'll notice right here at the very beginning, I've got two time periods: the Age of Glory, 1853 to 1866, and the Age of Rifles, 1867 to 1871. Depending on which era you pick, your roster will expand as more technologies become available to the different civilizations. And I will play the French this game. Now, every single civilization has their own roster. Even units that appear to be the same, like just your generic line infantry, for example. The line infantry, the stats might look the same from civ to civ, but some civilizations, their line infantry have certain bonuses or malices. Boni or mali, right? Some civilizations, they cost more or less. So as you go through each civilization and you take a look at the different units, you'll notice cost differences, stat differences, and it does appear that each civilization have their own unique strategy and play style to the game. Looking at the units here, you'll notice if I look at the stats here, hit points, I think, is pretty straightforward. You lose all the hit points and you die. Cohesion. I would interpret cohesion. In my understanding, it's kind of like a shield. When units engage and attack each other, the cohesion wears down first, and the cohesion can be replenished. But once cohesion reaches 0, the hit points start getting affected, and hit points don't come back. And if you get out to 0 hit points, you are defeated. Range, of course, is the range in which you can fire. Speed is how far you can move. Right? So let's go ahead and pick up, like, just looking at the stats here. The Zouave costs more than the line infantry. The stats are identical, except the Zouave has the melee drill trait, so it does additional damage in melee combat. Right? We'll get into that more later, I think. And I don't intend this video to be a complete tutorial on everything Fire and Maneuver. There are other videos out there that do that. Let's take... Yeah, we've got 100... Okay, let's do that. And with our remaining 35 funds, let's give these cuirassiers, which don't typically have any kind of range damage. We're going to pick up some guns and put them on this unit of cuirassiers. And we're going to add an AI. Russia will be our opponent, sure. We're ready. Let's go. It reminds me, the factions remind me a lot of Age of Empires 2, in that when you're not familiar with the game, you might look at something and say, oh, this unit just costs a little more, costs a little less. This one has, +1 range, +1 move. And like in Age of Empires, you might wonder, well, how different are the factions? But then as you sort of get into the nitty-gritty and you realize, oh, wow, these 15% differences here and there really add up, and they do make for very unique experiences. Okay, so first we need to set up our army. And this is a good point here. For the infantry, there are different formations. And you can pick one out of these 5 different formations, and each one provides different bonuses. So for example, I'm going to start my infantry out in march column formation. They cannot attack at all, but they gain additional move speed. And not only can they not attack at all, they'll take extra damage if they are attacked while they are in this formation. Alright, let's take the cavalry. We'll put them over to the flank. Artillery will go in the middle here. Actually, I'll put him behind. Let's move my elite unit there, and my 3rd artillery unit will go here, I think. Alright. Now, the game is called Fire and Maneuver because every unit in the game has 2 orders. A fire, well, 2 abilities to be ordered. A maneuver order and a fire order, represented by the orange, I believe it's blue for move and orange for fire. So, starting off, for example, and you'll see in the bottom left-hand corner here, I have 12 orders total that I can give to my army. Right? So every unit, like the infantry, has just 1... No, they have, I'm sorry, 2... He has 1 speed, but he has an additional speed because he is in the... they are in the march order. And then because they're on a road, they get an additional speed on top of that. So we're going to rush these units here to the bridge and try to claim it as quickly as possible. The artillery also benefit from the road, so they get to move 2 spaces. This artillery, moving off the road, only gets the 1 move. This unit is moving off the road, so you don't get the bonus move from the road, but march formation, 2 moves. Alright. Moving everything forward. Alright. Going to meet the opponent. And now that I've committed my orders, you see I only have 4 orders left. So if we were in combat, I would only be able to order 4 of my units to fire. Right? But fortunately we're not in combat, so... Now here's the cool thing. Once you've placed your orders, you and your opponent move at the same time. And this is where the strategy comes into play, is you're not taking turns, you are initiating your moves simultaneously. And so as you make certain orders and commands, you need to anticipate what your opponent is going to do and respond appropriately. That's really the cool part of the game. Alright, here we go. So, infantry moved to take the bridge. Actually, you know what we're going to do? In order to change formation, that takes a maneuver spot. And I would rather be prepared to fight and then take the bridge, rather than take the bridge, be ambushed and lose a bunch of health, and then get into fighting formations. So, I will switch over to the close order formation. You'll notice that, let's see, speed is set back to 1. There are no vulnerabilities, so you're not taking additional damage from anything. But you get an additional attack. It inflicts 2 base range damage. And seeing as I want to use my guns, I want the sound of that. Artillery will move up as well. Oh, wait a minute. No. I'll go back to my list of orders. Cancel that. The cannons I will actually move here, because I think he's out of range. They won't attack the cannons. If it were a human player, they might. I'd have to be careful of that, but... Okay. Alright, everything is moving up. Everything is moving forward. Cavalry are moving into position, and the goal that I want to have with the cavalry is to get in behind Russia's lines and destroy the artillery. Now you'll notice this elite unit here. No, not the Cuirassier. There we go. The Grenadier of the Guard. Got some interesting stats on him, but he has these 2 modifiers. 1, the ranged drill trait, he does increased fire damage. So once he starts unloading with guns, He'll be doing bonus damage. They will be doing bonus damage, right? 2, this move right here, the efficiency trait, grants 2 maneuver orders. So, I have a bonus move. I can't move twice, but I can switch formation and move in the same turn, which is something you cannot do if you don't have the efficiency trait. So that's kind of neat. Although that might have been premature. I wanted to use the guard to take the hill. The elevation gives them additional range. I don't think it gives them additional attack. But what we're going to do... Now that we're close enough to our opponent, we have to be careful about the order in which we place our orders. Because if there's something pressing that I need to make sure happens, I need to make that order first. Like, let's say it is essential that I open fire with my artillery on this infantry unit. I want to make that order first, because if I make it last, well, maybe Russia's first order is to move this infantry out of firing range, and then my order to fire on the infantry gets wasted. Okay. Alright, we are now moving up. I'm going to move this infantry up, and I'll give him a fire at will command. So, if once that fire at will order initiates, if any unit moves into the fire at will range, they get shot at, or at the end of the turn, if there's anybody in that range, the grenadier will fire. Let's go ahead and actually... I guess we'll take the hill with the generic my line infantry. Cavalry will continue to move up. And in my PvP games, the cavalry can be devastating. And what you have to do as a player is begin to predict where your opponent will be moving. Boom. There we go. Okay. I want to say first blood. Technically, no one has died yet, but you'll see the cohesion. My opponent here, the Cristiane, has 2 cohesion. And 2 cohesion got blasted away by the artillery. Okay. The cohesion does regenerate as long as there are no enemy units adjacent. Wow. Interesting that Russia here has decided to... Whoa, what has happened here? Okay, wait a minute. Like, you must have been... Hold on. I believe the only thing that makes sense is this cavalry unit moved within range of the grenadier and got blasted. Do I want to engage on this cavalry? I do not, actually. I would much rather just slip in. I'll just do that right there. And we will move you into fire order. And blast. You'll notice, too, as I'm moving, I can also change the direction that the unit is facing. And that changes the frontage, which is the available range that you can shoot at. Let's see. So this unit will be doing 2 damage, right? The cohesion is already down, so 2 damage there. You will be doing 3 damage, right? It's 2 base damage. And then an additional 1 for the range drill. So I think that should be enough to wipe them out. Cuirassier, let's move you forward. You already moved? Okay. I always forget this. The artillery cannot shoot over my own units unless it has a trait enabling it to do that, which these artillery pieces don't have. So, we're now creating a zone where the artillery can just fire into our opponents here. Now, notice this. The cavalry charged on my cavalry, so that's going to affect my fire orders. My cavalry unit can no longer move because they're engaged in melee combat. They can still fire, but I believe my units will be taking friendly fire. Yeah, oof. Alright, this unit was going to fire on the cavalry. Well, that's not happening anymore because the cav is dead. A fire at will order may have been better. Because then they could have blasted into these guys. Okay. So, otherwise, it's all a bunch of movement right now. And you'll see how to win this. You see the bars up here. 98% and 91%. That's the total number of surviving army units. The goal is to diminish this number to, I believe it's below 20%. Alright, my priority, number 1, keep this unit alive. They have lost all cohesion and 1 point of health. So I want to move this unit and make sure that he doesn't get shot, the cuirassier. Move them forward. Then, let's set the grenadier up. Ooh, let's see. Let's move and then fire. Fire. And I'm going to do a fire at will order in the event that any unit happens to step into that space. Then, with the artillery here, I'm going to order fire there, move forward. Tell you what, I'm suspecting that this unit will actually move out of range. So, just to kind of keep myself safe, I'm going to look at this unit, which is the 6th Regiment. Let me cancel that order. And instead, the last move I will do is a fire at will order for them. And I will move this infantry up here. And I will also give them a fire will order. I don't think anyone's going to be in the firing range, but, you know, can't hurt. Alright, those are my orders. Let's go. And now we see if the strategy paid off. Does the cavalry survive? Movement orders always happen before fire orders, so I think, if I read this right, this line infantry just tried to shoot at the grenadier, but the grenadier moved out of the way just in time. Okay. Oh, is this actually... Are they going to get shot at? Yeah, look at that! Oh, no, that's the artillery doing their thing. Oh! Of course, this is not line infantry at all. This is cav, and that's why the cavalry only can fire straight ahead. Cavalry have different frontage. Alright. I'm going to tell this cavalry unit to charge into the enemy here. The cohesion is already down. They're already weak. That should be a great fight. This unit, because there is an enemy unit adjacent, they still have not recovered cohesion. They need to recover. Let's move them over here, and hopefully that's enough. The Grenadier of the Guard. Let's see. This enemy here has 3 HP, 1 blast. No. Let me think. Yeah, let's do that. Let's just fire on you, and then you, I will give a fire at will order to. Notice, by the way, that unit did move. So I'm going to, with this move, turn the artillery here. That will give them more range. You may fire... fire at will. And you can fire here on these units. Alright. Meanwhile, continue to move forward. And I think that's all I want for these units now. Here we go. So, in melee, you do 1 charge damage. And then 2, at the end of every round, melee damage is done by both units. So the longer you stay in melee, both units take melee fight damage. And the cuirassier, because of this trait, they will be doing additional melee damage, +1 melee damage at the end of each turn, in addition to the charge damage. So some units have charge traits, which will increase the amount of charge damage they do, which is a one-time thing. Or they might have certain resistances to charge damage, which are nice. Well, this is just ridiculous. This cavalry unit is not dying, but I want the unit to heal before I charge them into the artillery. Alright, here we go. Ooh, my grenadier, I believe, took some serious damage. Let's see. Artillery, and that will do... Let's take a look here. I cannot tell from here. Range, fire orders, move order speed. I want to say... Notice the artillery, by the way, has the cumbersome trait, so you can only tell them to move or fire. You can't use both on one turn. And they have the... what is the name of this trait? Anti-personnel trait increases adjacent range damage by 2. So if they happen to be right up against a unit... Maybe just for the fun of it, I should try to make that happen. What did I already take with fire? Scroll up there. Yeah. Okay. For the fun of it. Let's try to actually make that happen, because that would be impressive. Nothing there. Alright, move. Anything you can shoot at. Yeah, you shoot. And in fact, that's such a tasty shot. Let's take that order and drag it up to the very top. That's the first thing I want to have happen. Artillery fires on both of those units. The infantry. I need to move them into... let's see... Attack column formation. Charge damage is increased by 1 point, and speed is set to 2. So I'm going to do that. Oh, ran out of time talking. That's always fun. Okay. We're going to take a little bit of damage here, I think. Ouch. Ouch, 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 ouch. Now, may I charge? Alright, finally the cohesion is replenished over here. So now I'm going to move down. And because I do have additional move, like this unit here has 2 move. 1, 2, you're out. This unit, I use my move turn, but there's still more move potential. So I am able to charge into the artillery. And that's going to be fun. I simply need to take this unit out. I will move this artillery unit, or this cavalry unit right here, and fire as well. Then I will have this artillery blast those guys apart. And... just in case... I'll fire on you too, because I don't know what your game plan is. I don't know if the artillery does 3 damage, or... It's 3 range, I'm not sure how much damage artillery does, so let's find out. Alright, so... Alright, you notice that it did bonus damage because we were attacking from the side. So, the... Ouch, there we go. 4 damage done against them. Very worthwhile. 2 damage done to the infantry there from the artillery. Okay. So 2 damage done from the artillery, plus the 2 damage done from the line infantry took that unit right out. Moving the artillery forward for the fun of it. Wait a minute. Did I just tell... First, I don't want them to fire. I accidentally right-clicked. So let's erase that order. No, I want you to charge. Oh, interesting. Do I need to... Here's what we'll do. I've already charged the artillery from the back. As a matter of pure overkill. No, wait a minute. Oh, these units are facing the wrong way. Oh, hey, this is great. Let's do that. So they're going to take another blast of artillery fire, and then the cavalry will hit them from behind. These units then will move up, and because they do have additional speed, I will charge the infantry into the artillery. And we should be golden. Infantry on the hill will fire. The cavalry have moved. I'll move this artillery forward. Let's go. France, by the way, from what I've read, is a very good starter civilization to play with. If you pick up the game, you may consider playing with the French because they give you some good options and they're a good all-around civilization. Alright, so we do charge damage against them. Bam. One small complaint that I have that I hope they address in the future is once the units charge onto each other, it can be very difficult to tell your stats versus the enemy's stats. Like right now, like how do I see what's going on, you know? I wish the interface were a little clearer. You are supposed to be able to tell that information. But, oh, excellent. All right, our very first order. I believe this will do bonus damage. Because this artillery, it says... Let's check it again. It's adjacent units, and I believe diagonal counts. Just in case that's not enough to wipe them out, we will have the infantry fire on them. Artillery move forward. Artillery move forward. Now these units... Oh, well, yeah. They're currently engaged in melee combat, and I have... Well, the infantry are. I have no interest in disengaging them from that fight, so instead, I'm going to have the cavalry move back, replenish the cohesion, and then next round probably try to hit one of the infantry units from the rear. So, yeah, he fired on me at the same time I fired on them. The artillery put out some devastating blows. You'll notice the Russian... I don't know what... Integrity. The integrity of the army is falling apart here. Okay. Yep. And at the end of the turn, because these two are stuck in combat, more melee damage was done. I think it's 1 damage for each side, unless there are any traits affecting that. Which there actually might be. Let me double check that again. Let's see. No, it's just charge damage. So that's different. Charge damage, one-time thing. Melee damage is the over-time damage that is done. Alright. Let's move the artillery forward. I will move the infantry and fire back on them. And meanwhile, the artillery continues to move forward. The cuirassier is... I say we actually, yeah, let's shoot from the side. And you guys will loop in from behind. Do you not have enough move speed? I really thought you had more than that. Let me see this here. Move speed 2. Yeah, no, I've only got 2 moves. I wonder if that's because... Because I thought they started with 3. I'm wondering if that's because they've taken some damage? I don't believe that's how that works. Either way, we end turn. The artillery. Oh, he gets a shot off on me. Turn around and engage on him. Oh, the infantry gets a good side hit on my cavalry. And you begin to see just how important, timing your orders is, either to evading planned enemy attacks or, having your plans thwarted. All right. Yeah. I'll just straight up charge him from the side. That should be fun. You get to fire on him. You get to move into position. I normally wouldn't play my artillery this way. I'm just having fun with it. And then the cavalry will move in and charge. So you're going to get a salvo from the infantry, and then the cavalry will charge on you. You guys get to move forward and attack. You two are already locked in combat. Excellent. Let's go. Alright. Cavalry charge in. It was an attack against their side, so they take bonus damage. The cohesion is just dropped on their part. Artillery is lining up. Charge, blast, ouch. And now the Russians, ooh, they're already down to 21%. And look, now they just at the start of the round, they dropped down below, they dropped down to 16%. So if I'm understanding correctly, I've already won the game. But we do have an extra round. Or let me put it this way. He has one last turn to drop me below his percentage in order for him to win. I'll show off one last thing. Not how I would normally play this, but you can friendly fire your own units. And if you're not careful, you will do this on accident. I have told my artillery to fire on this infantry unit. But General, the cavalry, they are in the middle of a fight. Well, ouch. And you can do the same thing with infantry too. This cavalry unit is going down. Okay. Let's go ahead and fire on that. Let's go. Blam. Look at that. It was, both units took 6 points of damage. That is devastating. Yeah. And there it is. The Russians dropped down to only 4% of their army remaining. And a victory for France. So it's a really fun game, and as you start looking at the different nations and the different units, you see that there are different traits that come into play, different play styles that are encouraged between the way units cost, the traits that units have, the sort of civilization characteristics that come into play that make this a really fun game. So I encourage you to download it, check it out. Again, if you liked the video, let me know. Leave a comment below. Kind of let me know what you want to see next. I hope you enjoyed this video. But for now, this is the Iron Kaiser along with Fire and Maneuver, signing off.